Hi guys, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to operate some of the basic controls on your brand new hot spring Limelight spa. So anytime you want to access it, you can always tap the options button to turn her on, or the back button should bring you to your temperature home spring screen, or your options button will take you to your options home screen there. And so mainly a couple things I wanted to cover that most people have a few questions on. The brand new freshwater salt system, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Your jets, those are pretty easy to control. You got jets, and then there's going to be, you press the jets button there, and you've got your controls here for your low. For jet 1, you can turn on low or high. Jet pump 2, on or off. That's a single setting, and then you can do jets max or jets off right there. And those two buttons right there. So that's pretty basic stuff. Mainly wanted to talk a little bit about how to use the salt system, and then just want a couple other features. And this is all in your control, or all in your owner's manual. But I know you're excited, and you're going to be getting your hot tub and getting her set up and going through the water care. So I want to make this a little easier, cover a little bit of this ahead of time for you. So clean cycle. I'm not going to push it right now. What that does is it cycles both jet pumps through a full, I want to say it's a 5 minute per section, or a 3 minute per section cycle of the jets being on, essentially. And so what that's good for is if you need to put some pH decreaser in there, or even alkalinity increaser, even your shock oxidizer, when you don't really have time to let it air out and sit for longer, you can get away with putting that in there for 10 minutes. Only time you don't want to use this feature, you really just shouldn't ever use this feature, is when you're putting pure chlorine into the spa, or you really need the spa to air out, because it's only going to go for 10 minutes. And whenever you're doing that, you want to make sure that you have at least 30 minutes of time with jets on full, not partial, and on with the cover open. So let's go into options here. That's that button. Clean is right down here. So that's just a 10-minute clean cycle. Easy turner on, toss some product in there. So you want to hit the options button here, and you're gonna get, I get this question a lot. This green light right here is going to be flashing. So that is actually not going to stop flashing until the spa's up to temperature, the water is balanced with the proper pH and alkalinity, calcium's been filtered out with your vanishing act, and then the salt level is accurate. And so it's going to take the salt some time to dissolve. And once we've done all those steps, you've blasted with chlorine to activate the cell or the cartridge, and then you've put the proper amount of salt in, it's not going to change immediately. It's going to take it a bit to read the levels, to make sure that the salt levels and the connectivity on the cartridge is correct, and then it'll kick that yellow light off. So be aware of that. But if you want to access, once she's up and that yellow light stops flashing, you can go options and you go salt system. And so here are your salt system controls, and this test status, what this is testing, you can't really see in the green there in this lighting. I'm in the mood room here. So, but in the center, I'll pull it a little closer. There we go. So you can see there's a red, then a yellow, then a big green part of that bar, then a yellow again and a red. So this is testing the connectivity for the salt cartridge, and that's based on your water balancing that we just talked about. So if everything's closer in range, and it's in the range it should be, you'll be testing in the green. So if we hit this test status, okay, now it says salt system testing. So you're going to let it run for a few seconds here. It's gauging how well balanced the water is, and it's okay. It's right there in the green. So the water is nearly perfectly balanced, or pretty dang close to. The level. So how you're gonna change your levels of natural chlorine output, and I want you to usually start around like a 9 or a 10, probably a 10, just to get it started. It'll take usually 48 to 72 hours to really get itself up and going. And if you're using it in that time frame, you're probably going to need to turn this up and then continually use the boost. So once again, options, salt system right here. and then level, so you just tap that to cycle through level. So I'm going to want you guys to put it up to a 10 to get it started, and then also once you get it started, I want you to hit the boost button immediately. So that's boost. You hit the boost button, gives it a 24-hour, like it says there, 24-hour boost cycle is on. So that's gonna up the output even more, so it'll get more natural chlorine produced for you quicker. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that back off. Even when you turn it off, it is going to continue. You've kind of activated a partial. It's going to continue, I believe, for at least 12 hours. And then I'm going to knock this level back down to where it was here. And you just cycle right through. So one more thing I want to show you guys that I want you to do. Once that yellow light stops flashing and it's up and running, I want you to hold down this button right here, the test status button. I want you to hold it down. And keep holding. Now power level. So this is an internal setting from the factory. It's kind of a little secret, but we do want it to start producing more chlorine quicker because you're going to want to be using your hot tub, and we want to have less of that. We don't want to continue using that powdered chlorine. That's not the goal here. So that's your power level right here. It's a 1 through 4. So like this is currently at a 3. I do the same, cycle through. So I can tap it down to a 1. I want you to turn it all the way up to 4 to start, so it does get producing. So we're going to have it all the way cranked up to 10. And then you hit the confirm button here. We can change that back to where she was. You hit the confirm button there, and then it's good to go. And so all those settings are, that internal setting is set. So once again, I want you to start it up to level 10. I want you to turn the boost on, and then I want you to go to that internal setting on test status. Hold that button down and then crank her all the way up to 4 because we want to get her up and producing. Once you've done that, and you've been using the hot tub and you're kind of getting in the rhythm there, then we can go ahead and back it back down off based on your usage. With consistent use, sometimes you just leave it at that level. The other thing I want to show you is replace cartridge. So let's go back to the start, the home screen here. It's going to tell you when to replace the cartridge. Sometimes the cartridge may wear out before the time frame, and sometimes even after. So sometimes you'll need to change it without the spa telling you, and we'll know. You can give us a call. You'll know based on water indicators there. So once again, to access that, you do options, salt system, and then let's go back to that again. Options, salt system, and then you use this button for a replace cartridge. So what this is going to do, it's going to power off the pump, the circulation pump, and you give it a second here, and then you're going to go ahead and that video that I showed you where you take out the salt cartridge underneath that gray cap. This is an example of a Limelight spa gray cap, and that's where that salt cartridge is. So you'll just push that button and follow the instructions from there on. And you should be good to go.